Hey, do you want to know how to mod a Digimon color? It's not a rhetorical question, I don't know why you sat there in silence. The second wave of Pendulum Colors has finally reached our shores here in the UK, and my last video when the first wave came out was kind of a very loose modding video. What I figured I should do this time around is actually kind of walk through my process on how I mod these devices, so that maybe you can do it too. Before we get started, there are a couple of things you need. First thing, and this is very important, you need a CH341A programmer. Ideally, or rather specifically, one with this little clip. The clip itself must go with the red end that folds kind of outwards. The red end facing away from the USB port. You want your 4 closer to the USB, and you want the red coming down. This will be used to read the memory, as well as to write the memory back onto the device when we're all done. You'll need a computer. I can't fit that into frame, so just... With this, you'll be able to edit all the sprites, and if you want to get into the kind of nitty-gritty hex code of it, you can change the types, you can change their power, how quickly they lose their hunger and strength, things like that, but that will require you going deep into the hex code. You'll also need a screwdriver just to get the thing open. Those are the mandatory things. Something else that might help you is this little 3D printed part by
JYoshi1909.
And essentially what you do with this is you screw that into the device itself on the back. I'll show you that a bit later, and it holds the reset button down, because when you're reading the memory with the programmer, you need that reset button held down, especially, and I can't stress this enough, especially when it's being written back onto the device. So that's something helpful, but you can also just do it with your fingers, and there are other ways around it. I just use one of these because nice and easy. Finally, you are going to need a Digivice color of some variety. So let's get this open, because I've been waiting to open this probably about a week now, if not longer. Let's get in. Oh. Zenon have held out on me. I got no stickers. Oh. Got him, Zenon. I was looking forward to me stickers. That's also a little bent. It's alright, I forgive him. Right, which one shall I open first? I feel like I should go with this one, because it's got Metal Greymon on it. Got your standard gubbins. Yeah, it's just standard manual. Charging cable that I definitely don't need, and then there. Oh, that is nice. That black and red is immense. Let's get that turned on. There's an egg. And there's little Mecha Koromon. For this, you can either do it straight from a blank save or from a save with Mecha Koromon. Just make sure you hit the reset before you start doing any of this, just so that all your data is backed up and saved. Right, so similar to most Digimon devices, you've got 4 screws on the back. Let's get those out. Once you've got all the screws out, this is probably going to fall off. You want to be very careful, and you want to open the device up like a kind of like a clamshell. So you want to open it to the right if the back is facing you. The reason you want to be really careful is because that speaker is there, and those wires are fragile. I have soldered back so many of them because of how many times they just snap off. And you really don't want to be getting a soldering iron in here if you can help it, just because it's all plastic, it will melt. But yeah, we'll keep that like that for now. Take the little rubber gasket out to make sure you don't lose it. And then there are 2 more screws on the actual board itself. One here by the speaker wires, and then there's actually one underneath the battery. The battery's only held on by a little bit of tape. Ooh, it's actually a little bit stronger on this wave. It's a bit more than just standard tape, it's like proper adhesive. And then there's one under there. This little bit that's protecting the charging port might fall out. That's okay. What I tend to do, put the battery back in place, close it back up. You want to be careful when closing it up. If you haven't got the battery in the right place, you could be pushing on it. And then just push down like that. We'll take our buttons out, because we do need those for the little tool I've got. And you want to remove the glass screen protector, or the acrylic screen protector. And you need to have access to this chip here. So to do that, you do need to kind of pop the screen out. There's a ribbon cable that connects the screen to the board. So what's probably best is if you go from this side, it's only held in with a couple of pegs. Ooh. If it springs to life, don't worry. You haven't done anything bad to it yet. You just want to shimmy the screen out. It is just some pegs that are holding it in, so it's not like adhesive down. You just want to be careful of that little ribbon cable. There we go. Once the screen's out, you have two options. You can either attempt to get in there and unhook that ribbon cable, or you can just slightly move it to the side, which is what I'm going to do. So once it's moved to the side, you can plug your programmer into the computer, and making sure that the red wire is on the top right-hand side, you want to clip that to the board. You want to make sure that's a solid connection. If you start hearing it hiss, or it starts beeping or anything like that, take it off, let it charge for a couple of minutes, because what you don't want to do is you don't want to short circuit this chip, because it is very hard to get it back from that state. Don't ask me how I know that. Before I do that, I'm going to put the buttons in, and then I'm going to get that tool that I was talking about earlier. You put that over the buttons, and it will hold down the reset button. You can hear that it's obviously hit the reset button and sprung it to life. You use the screws that came with the device, and you screw down that little button holder. And you screw it down until it stops screaming at you. And there we go. It's holding down the reset button, and it won't respond to my touch. That's good. Now then, we can take it and plug it into the computer, and I'll show you what to do next. Once you've connected the clip of your programmer to the chip on the board of the Digivice, what you want to do is click this little button in AsProgrammer. This will ask you what IC you're using. The IC is just the top one, and you press select. Making sure that the clip is still connected and that the reset button is being held down, however you decide to do that, you want to press the read IC button, and it looks like this little chip with a green arrow coming out of it. This will only take about a minute. And there we go. If you're looking at a screen that has a bunch of different numbers and letters, you're all good. If you've got a screen that has a bunch of zeros or a bunch of Fs, you've probably got a corrupted file. The best way to check is to make sure you save the file, which is what we're doing next anyway, and you can run it through Cyanic's hash check, which was made to check that the original bin files are completely correct and not corrupted. That won't work for already modded devices, but for brand new ones, it'll be completely fine. Either way, what you want to do is save this file. You want to save it somewhere that you're going to remember, and somewhere where you can use it if need be. I've got a backup folder for all of the dumps that I've made of all my devices, so what I'll do is I'll save it here as Metal Empire Backup. Next up, you want to go to this website called dmc-mod-app.pages.dev. And what you can do from there is you can upload the bin file that you just made. And what that will do is it will look at every single sprite that you've got, and this is where you can edit the sprites. Have a look at the sprites and find which ones you want to replace, create those sprites. It even tells you what size they are, and you want to just add them in, making sure they're the same name. What I'll do is I want to change the count from yellow for, I believe that's data, to what it actually shows up as. Yeah, data shows up as green here, but on the count it shows up as yellow. So just like in my first video on the topic, I'm going to change that over to green. So 130 and 133 are being changed to green. I can just drag those in like that. And there we go, they're now green. Another thing I want to do is I want to make sure that the poops are all pink. So again, I'll find all the poop sprites, note their number and their size, and I will replace them with pink ones. There we go. Now we've got pink poops, and there should be 2 more down at the bottom here. Yep, pink one there, pink one there. Fantastic. In the characters, you've got all your information, such as where the sprite starts, what their attack sprites are, and you can edit this all in here by clicking on the edit button, which is right at the very end here. You can literally edit everything using this tool without having to delve into the hex code. And it does, like I say, allow you to edit the stage, so baby, baby 2, rookie, champion, so on and so forth. You can change the attribute, so 0 is free, 3 is vaccine, 2 is data, and 1 is virus, if I remember rightly. You can change their minimum weight, power, sleep hours, so on and so forth. It's all on here. You can change what quest Digimon you face. You can change the animations. So these are the allied or sprite animations. You can see, there they go. And you can change at which position do they do what. So say if when they get to the middle of the screen, you want them to do their angry one, they'll do their angry in the middle of the screen. There's also some patches on this website that allow you to use the clock scroll fix, which stops it from panning from side to side when you choose the clock, and the 12-hour clock fix, which allows you to see 12 PM and 12 AM rather than 0 PM and 0 AM. I'm going to keep it as is because I do want to keep it mostly original besides those little changes. There's also a page of instructions, resources and references, and credits. Cyanic is brilliant. Like I say, I used to use his sprite tool and his hash check. I've mentioned him probably a couple of times in this video now. Humulos for providing a platform for VPET discussion. He has. If it wasn't without the Cyanic Digitama hatchery, I wouldn't be doing all of this, as well as Kurizato from providing the patches that we spoke about before. I also want to thank the Digimon Professor for linking me to this website because it does make the whole process so much easier. Once everything's done, you just want to hit the build button and it will give you an output.bin file. I'm going to put that file slap bang into that and I will call it Metal Empire Uchu, so I know it's my custom one. Then you go back to AsProgrammer, you open that file that you've just made, and there we go, we can see it's slightly changed. Making sure that the clip is still connected and the reset button is held down the entire time, you want to click the little arrow next to the right button and click Unprotect, Erase, Program, and Verify. The IC will be erased and programmed. You press yes, and this will take anywhere between 5 to 15 minutes. So if you don't have one of these tools, you're gonna, get a hurty finger. But you can do it, I've done it, so if I can do it, you can do it, I believe in you. Okay, and once it's done, it should say down here, programming memory with verification, done. Execution time, like I said, about 5 minutes. Once that is done, you can unclip the device. Once you let go of the reset button, it should spring back to life. Let's move, and we'll do that now. Okay, so back in place, we're gonna release the reset button. And it looks happy. It looks alive. Let's click through. Okay. He wants some food. He wants some protein. Happy. We'll wait for him to poop in order to see if it's gone all right. As a general rule, you can change the splash screen because that is the first thing you see when you boot these up. When you turn it on for the very first time, you know immediately if it's worked. If you're happy with it, you can click the screen back into place and we get it reassembled. I have no doubt that it has worked, so I'm gonna start putting it back together. Make sure you put your chain back on and the rubber gasket that covers the charging port before you close it back up, because the last thing you want to do is screw it all back together and realize that you missed something. There we go. Let's make it so that you can see. It's a little bit better. Pink poop. I suppose the easier way to check would have been he needs red, I think. There we go, green, and then red. Look at him go. A baby that doesn't shoot acid bubbles because he's made of metal. Huh, cute. Make it hit. Right, that is how you mod these things. I've got to still screw it together, but we'll talk about that later. And that's it. That's how you mod one of these. The Pendulum Colors, the Digimon Colors, they all work the same. The Monster Hunter ones are definitely going to work the same. The Godzilla ones that are coming out, they're going to work the same. The only ones I'm not too sure about are the 25th anniversary colors, because I think those use a different code format similar to the Tamagotchi Uni. That's still being explored. I'm sure I will cover that once the modding's a bit more available. But yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. I'll be happy to answer them. Keep an eye out on Alex's channel, because we're going to be having a bit of a Barney with these, going to have a couple of back and forth battles. That's it. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you again to Digimon Professor for pointing it out. Thank you to Zenin for finally getting these over to us. I understand it's been a bit wacky with shipping recently. And hey, thank you for watching. I think that was a good ending to a video. Wow!